What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm here today to review a series of Unfortunate Events Season 2. So this was a show I was very, very looking forward to going into it. I'm not a big TV viewer. I don't really watch many TV shows at all. But when it comes to select Netflix shows, I like to binge them like no one else's business. With Jessica Jones, Season 1 and 2, I absolutely tore through that season's 13 Reasons Why I would tear through it. So select shows, I tend to just go full steam ahead on. Series Unfortunate Events Season 2, I forgot about up until this past Saturday when I was like, oh dear, Series Unfortunate Events is out. So I watched and I proceeded to watch 10 episodes in less than 3 days. And I'm going to talk about it. I'm not really going to spoil it. I don't think there is a need to spoil it. But we're going to go through some of the strengths, some of the weaknesses I thought of this season. I actually did review the last season. Now, I think, very few people were with us this time last year compared to where we are now. So if you want to go check out my review of the first season, I don't know if you can find it. It'd be very, very deep in the records of Podcast Now. But what I will say about this season is you need to buy into it almost immediately. And I think that's both a strength and weakness. I had forgotten, or maybe I'd been out of watching it for so long. I watched the first season the first day it came out last year, and again proceeded to watch the full season, full 8 episodes over like the span of 2 or 3 days. This season is 10 episodes. It's actually 5 books compared to the 4 books of last season. That makes it so that next season there's only 4 books left and then it's over. But this show is definitely strange, and I kind of forgot about that from last season to this season over the course of the year. This show needs you to buy into its, at times, stupidity and basic just overall weirdness. They have definitely established their own style, a style that was present in the Jim Carrey movie, and I definitely, like I've been saying in past videos of this topic, I really, really liked the Jim Carrey movie. I think I liked the show way, way better, but they both have those similar tones, but the show is just even weirder. I don't remember the books being this far out, but maybe it's just been because I haven't read them in a very long time, and I also read them when I was a kid. Maybe I just didn't get this, but I don't know if the show has taken it a way that it wasn't supposed to go, or if it actually was like this in the first place. But you have to buy in. There were many times in this season where I actually couldn't take it. I binge watched it through 3 days, less than 3 days, but there were times where I was like, you know what, this show is just so stupid sometimes. There's still the annoying characters. There's still characters that you can't believe what select characters will do, and at times that just gets on my nerves. I think I got more and more used to it as the season went on. Every episode you kind of get more used to it, but it's just so strange. And the style and tone that the show is filmed in, you have to just suspend your disbelief and go in and buy into what the show is doing. If you do not do that, you're honestly going to be very fed up with the show. My parents had actually watched the first couple episodes of the first season, and they couldn't take it anymore. And I told them that if they would have watched season 2, like they wouldn't have made it even a fraction of what they made for season 1. Season 2 takes everything season 1 did and amplifies it by like 100. The positives are still there. The 3 kids, they're still fantastic. Violet, Sunny, and Klaus, they're really, really good. And they do steal the show again. They did it in season 1. I thought they all did very, very well again. Count Olaf, he's not actually, I think personally, in the front of everything as much as he was last season. Maybe it's because, last season we were like, oh, how is he going to do this character? Is he going to be as good as Jim Carrey? And the answer is I think he's better, but that's where he was last year. This season, it's more like, okay, let's get into the story. Let's get into these new locations that a lot of people aren't familiar with. The first season and even the Jim Carrey movies touch upon the stuff that we already kind of know. People know about the beginnings of these books because now they've been done twice. But how often have you seen the Austere Academy or the Hostile Hospital or the Carnivorous Carnival? You don't really see those that often. In fact, we've never seen that adaptation on a screen before. And I thought the TV series did a really good job with all of these. Again, the way they do, like, sometimes it looks cheap, but it has its own kind of film style that they've been doing, that they did all the way, all the way back to the first episode of season 1, and they've kept that. It all looked really good, and, it fit the tone of the show. I was actually rather impressed with how they did some of these. Now, I will say they're not necessarily as interesting, these locations, as what we know of like the original couple, like the Reptile Room or any of the really original like 4 books, or even the first season or the Jim Carrey movie. These locations are not as popular, and they just don't have the same feel to them. What I will say is though, they have to rely more on side characters. And I thought the side characters were really, really good in this. All throughout all of these episodes, the Vile Village even, there were a lot of really cool characters. Nathan Fillion was in this. There's actually a couple big name actors that made their way into this show, and they all did really, really good. I was actually surprised to see Nathan Fillion in it. But overall, the show, I enjoyed it. I will say it got on my nerves more than season 1 did. I wasn't, as thrilled with the whole season as I was with season 1. I just think it got even weirder, and at times that was a good thing, but at times it still just bugged me. What I will say is the show definitely mixed in, I personally feel, a lot more comedy. Not comedy in terms of the characters are really stupid. There are a lot of stupid characters that their decisions and even the way they talk sometimes will drive you literally insane, but literally they'll make jokes. Count Olaf actually made several specific and on-purpose jokes, so it was actually really, really funny at times. I laughed out loud. So I thought the show had a really weird balance of being kind of frustrating at times, but also being funny, but also being interesting. This is getting to the part where we're starting to really figure out about, VFD and the secret organization, and who is Count Olaf, and how does he relate to all of these people? Was he a good guy at some point? And, if you've read the books, you know how this goes. But the show is, getting into that realm. And I thought that made for a more interesting story rather than having the characters just jump from one place to the other and watch a Guardian die. That doesn't happen as much here. Instead, it's trying to develop a bigger story arc and get more characters into it and kind of have this huge aura of what was this organization and who's part of it and how does Count Olaf deal with it and what part did he play in it. That's really what this season is about, while also showing us new locations and giving us more of Klaus, Violet, and Sunny, which again, those three did very, very good. It looks like Klaus and Violet didn't age a single bit. Sunny obviously did. What I liked is they actually addressed Sunny's age difference in the very beginning of the first episode in a rather clever and kind of funny way, humorous way, and they did those kind of things all throughout all the episodes. Some episodes referenced other episodes, some referenced the fact of what this actually is. So I really did like some of the meta stuff going on in the show. They did that in the first season. I think that's what this is really all about. But overall, I enjoyed it. I'm very happy I watched it. Did it get on my nerves? Yes. Did I have somebody to vent to when I was watching it? Yes. So it didn't really drive me that crazy. Overall, I definitely liked the season. I cannot wait, and I've been waiting since last year. I cannot wait to see these last ones. I really want to see how especially the last book is what I remember the most from any of the books I read. I really want to see how they do the end, how they handle the ending of this series, because it's really, really something that I remember very well. And I can't wait to see how they handle it in a show form. This is what I've been waiting for a while, and we're going to get that. Next season is going to be 8 episodes, most likely 2 episodes per book, and there's 4 books left, so we're almost there. This definitely was a bridge. I do not think this season was as good as season 1, but it was definitely just a different season. I wouldn't necessarily say it was massively worse than season 1. I enjoyed it. I can't wait for season 3. I would still be excited for season 3, whether this season was a flop or just absolutely fantastic. It wouldn't have changed my mind. But let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think? Have you guys watched season 1 of A Series of Unfortunate Events? Do you like this series overall? What do you think about it? Let me know. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Like and share the video, and we will see you guys on the next review.